Just taking a quick look at this new BMW iX3. They say this is a turning point for BMW, at least for BMW design. So yeah, it's the return of the iconic styling, the zeitgeist. Yeah, that BMWs used to be known for, right? It wasn't just the engineering aspect. It's the style, right? The way you looked when you drove a BMW. So they said they've kind of, they're going back to the roots here. Now, I don't know about that. I don't know about that. There's definitely some styling elements, sure. But this is a pretty big, chunky SUV, isn't it? But that's what people want. That's what people want. So, yeah, they've delivered it, and they've managed to kind of capture something here, right? It's a little bit of a mix between the old and the new. And the end result is actually, I think it looks great. Now, one thing about the front end here, if you're not too crazy about all this LED lighting, they say that actually the kidney grills here and these kind of like accentuations off the side, this is going to be part of an iconic glow package. And you can tell kind of by the name. It's a little cheesy, isn't it? So yeah, I threw this thing in the Photoshop. If you were wondering what this thing might look like without that, there you go. So, because all these press photos, of course, they have like every option on these cars, right? So yeah, you might want to skip that package. And other design critiques I have on the rear. Actually, I think the rear is perfect. One thing that I've kind of noticed here, you might not have caught this, but these diagonal lines on the taillight, notice how they actually get thicker as they move inward. And that just really kind of draws your eye in. And where does your eye end up going? right to the badge, right? Right to the BMW badge. Now for the side, we do get this very clean look, right? There's no body cladding, especially around the wheel wells. And this is kind of a pro and con situation, right? I mean, it does make it look very sleek. But at the same time, there's a reason, a lot of these crossover and SUVs use black cladding, right? Because there's just so much body here. There's a lot. And it just does kind of make the vehicle look a little bit chunky, right? A little bit heavy, bulky. So, yeah, I mean, I kind of wish that at least even just this little lower part, we had some black trim around there. And the rest of the fender could have been still clean. But on the inside, it's pretty much all good news. Well, almost. They say they've improved the build quality, the materials, the ergonomics, and the tech. Right? This is supposed to have some of the fastest processing computers in the industry in this thing. So, and of course, you get this all-new panoramic iDrive. For some reason, even though you have all that info up there, you can still get a heads-up display if you want. I don't know why you would. But, yeah, you can get it. And, of course, you get this new design, right? Look at the lighting, even behind this kind of textured, panel on the IP. So, there's a lot of cool little details in here. And this new wheel is kind of a crazy design, isn't it? Where it's really the two spokes are at 12 and 6 o'clock. So it does look cool. The only problem is they committed the #1 sin on interior automotive design. These buttons, right? These kind of touch capacitive buttons on the steering wheel. And in fact, this is pretty much the worst we've ever seen because they tried to put it on this like crystal-like. It's just going to reflect a bunch of lights and really make the icons even more difficult to see. I mean, capacitive touch buttons on just like, a gloss black surface, they're frustrating to use, right? Because you accidentally touch them and press them and all this stuff, but at least you can see what the buttons are. On here, you won't even be able to see what you accidentally pressed. So that's a major disappointment, isn't it? On what otherwise looks like a fantastic interior. Now, if you're wondering about some of the more EV aspect specs and features of this thing, you know, you might be wondering, what is this? What is this? Yeah, this is actually what you're greeted with when you open the frunk. So, in case you forgot, you know, that it's a BMW, I guess. I don't know. So you got to open that panel too. You got to open two things to get to the frunk. But for many EV buyers, a frunk is important. So check that box off. And you can also check off basically every box that has to do with range, charging speed, efficiency. You can check them all off on this thing. And that's really, you know, the design, you know, it looks great, sure. The packaging looks good. But this is the stuff that's really going to convince you to buy one of these, right? So they're saying like 500 miles of range, 108 kilowatt hours usable. So this is actually a huge battery. Of course, they say they've improved the energy density of these cells, you know, tremendously. And that's on top of the efficiency gains, right? So they say 40% more efficient than the last generation BMW motors they were using, and 10% lighter. So at the same time, more efficient, lighter, and they even said, hey, you know, it costs us 20% less to even make it. So this is impressive, and this is what you get, you know, when the Germans actually try to make an EV.